Greg, if it's all right with you, I see we've had a hand up for a while from Alan Berger. If I'd love to ask Alan maybe to come off mute and ask his first question, and then we'll keep monitoring hand raises and chats if that works. And again, we'll do our best to get to questions, but I'll remind everybody too that we are having a virtual reception at the top of the hour, and at that time we'll have an opportunity to further discuss these papers. So, Alan, I see you came off mute.
Thanks very much, Jim. I appreciate it, and thanks very much to everybody in the session. I thought it was a tremendous session. I really like both papers, and they really provide really great background material for future research. And as Greg has said, we've got like 100 papers left to go on PPP, and these are going to be very foundational for us. I do have a couple of suggestions on the papers. For Padma, a very interesting paper. It's so comprehensive. You have so many results. That's really great. You might want to even think about maybe it's more than one paper. I don't know, but you can think about that. I do have one criticism, and it's very easily addressed. So you drew the conclusion based on net interest margins going down that this was not a play for profitability by the banks. But I would argue that you should try using other additional measures of profitability, because the real benefit to the banks is not in the interest income, it's in the fee income. The fee income is tremendous. You get 1 to 5 cents on a loan, that 1 to 5% on a loan where you have bear no credit risk or monitoring costs or anything else, because the government's guaranteeing it. So I would suggest if you just use ROA or ROE, you may find a different result. It's just a suggestion, and as you already know from attending my seminar last Friday, is that we actually got the opposite result using ROA and ROE. So we'll try net interest margin. You try these other. Let's see what we get. Let's split the difference. I think it's a good idea. It's really a very good paper. It was right on the mark. You got a great instrumental variable. I love that. But I would suggest that you expand your paper a little bit, because it's a one result. It seems like a one result paper, which is a very good result, that you got this additional kick out of this PPPLF or whatever it's called. But here's the next question for you. Do the loans issued by using this PPPLF, what is the effect on the small business and communities? Is it the same effect as the other loan? The other research says it had positive effects on the community. Are these effects on the community greater, or are they less, or the same, whatever? That would be your next question. And I think that'd be what I suggest for you. Thanks very much.
Great. Greg, I'll note, David, you have your hand up.
Yeah, and I just wanted to respond to that. Those are interesting points, but one of the things that I would point out is, focusing on the net interest margin, how we've handled the accounting of this. The fees that come in will be booked to income as they're forgiven. But we were able to get a number of loans forgiven in 2020 out of the 5.4 million of total fees we're going to earn under this program. $1 million of that was booked last year. We do anticipate nearly all of the rest of it to be booked this year. We are doing very well on a forgiveness standpoint. But that income, while it is fee income, it does get booked as interest income and will impact our net interest margin. So our net interest margin in 2020 and 2021 is essentially artificially high, because it reflects the fees we earned in the program rather than just the activity of the performance of a loan portfolio versus cost of funds. So I just wanted to point that out. And from our standpoint, if you add 2020 and 21 together, the PPP fees that we generated will equal about a third of the net income we've generated aggregate for those 2 years. So they're just some additional reflections from me.
Thanks, David. That was an excellent comment. So I did not realize that would go right into the net interest margin. Thank you very much.
Jim, is there time for the presenters to respond to Alan and my comments also, or are we?
Yeah, I think we have a couple minutes. Again, we're going to watch the time, 25 after the hour. We're going to switch to we're going to welcome our second keynote speaker. So we'll probably want to break about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before that. But I think there's let's take advantage of that opportunity.
Padma, would you like to?
I think we have you muted there, Padma.
I can't hear.
Yep, we just put a note into our production team. Should we go to Shreya?
Yeah, I think while maybe Padma is waiting, figuring out the unmute, let me just say thank you so much to Greg and David, and then of course Alan for the comments. So Greg, we will do a little bit more on expanding like the meanings of the variables that we use to control for stuff, because I think that there's some unexplored stuff, and thank you for all the comments about distinguishing ourselves in the literature. The literature, as you know, is getting very crowded, so I think that's becoming more and more important. And then to Alan, and first, David, thank you so much for some of your insights. I might use some of your bank as an example when I start presenting this paper, because I really like you had that bullet in your slide of that you guys thought about the PPPLF as a backstop. So I think that's really helpful just to say, look, there is at least one bank that we know that does that. And then finally, Alan, thank you. We are actually thinking about expanding the paper. So I think there was actually a question in the chat too, like the policy implications of the paper. So we've been closely thinking about what effectiveness means. So a couple things that we're planning to add to the paper is like the fact that the facility was rolled out very quickly, just a mere 6 days after the PPP started. Was that helpful? We find yes, because we find that most of our juice in our results actually comes from lending in April itself. And then our next step is actually to look at specifically the PPP loan recipients that were the marginal PPP loan recipient that was helped by a PPPLF loan. So I think hopefully that will round out the paper in a more and provide a little bit more juice, I suppose. Heather, were you able to unmute?
Yeah, it looks like we still may be having some issues, some technical issues there. Sorry about that, Padma.
I think I know we're out of time for 3:20, so Jim, I'll give it back to you. Thanks so much.
Well, great. Well, Shreya, Greg, David, Padma, thank you so much for your presentations, your comments. Very timely, right? As Greg, as you highlighted from Alan Berger, the number of papers written on TARP, and now here we are, really at the early stages of PPP, and look forward to, continuing to see research coming out on this topic. But over the years, a lot of our papers really do look back pretty far to understand current phenomena. And here we have two papers that are just very, very recent. So again, just great effort, and thank you so much, Padma and Shreya, and we got a big hand clap from Alan there, and Greg for your comments, and David as well. That's the strength of this conference, right? We come together and we offer perspectives, and hopefully it ultimately leads to even better research and better policy. So thanks to all of you.